How's it going, YouTube? Nick Mo here, and I've just completed Abzu, a tranquil undersea adventure from developer Giant Squid, and it's all about exploration and being one with nature. Some of the most influential people behind this game come directly from the team that made Journey for the PlayStation 3, and like Journey, Abzu is a relatively short game, but one that features masterful visual design and a sound presentation that will make you want to stay in this peaceful ocean for as long as possible. However, beyond the calm seas lies a mystery. Abzu tells a story that's hidden in plain sight, but is possible to miss thanks to the game's brisk pacing. Abzu tells the story of a lost civilization and how this civilization's own technology and scientific advancements brought about its demise. What's more, the story of Abzu is about discovering who we are and what our purpose is in this ocean. And as always, a friendly reminder, everything you're about to hear is my personal take on Abzu, and I believe this one is open to interpretation, so be sure to give me your take on the game in the comments, and also be sure to actually play the game before going any further with this video, because this game was a blast, and I do not want to spoil it for you. Let's get underway. The story of Abzu actually begins with its title. According to the game's developers, the game's name comes from two ancient words, Ab, meaning ocean, and Zu, meaning to know or deep, which is to be interpreted together as Ocean of Wisdom. The title speaks to the game's content. In the beginning, we find our humanoid protagonist alone in a vast ocean. We have no idea who we are, we have no idea where we are, and we have no idea why we are alone, and so we set across this ocean in search of answers. Over the next few hours, the ocean slowly reveals its wisdom to us. We find an aquatic world full of life, yet large pieces of this ocean have fallen dark, void of any plants or animals. When we reach these fallen areas, we are able to revitalize them as we discover that inside our protagonist lies an energy capable of bringing life back to these once lifeless seas. As we bring the life back to the fallen seas, more of the ocean becomes accessible to us, and we begin to see the signs of a fallen civilization, and we discover paintings of other creatures who look a lot like us. These paintings are actually the primary storytelling devices in Abzu. Without these ancient paintings, we would have no context to what we encounter later in the game. In fact, it is this ancient temple, found about halfway through the game, where we discover the nature of our place in the ocean. And there's a lot to take in here, but before we get there, let's take a step back. Recall a moment early in the game when we discover small, yellow robotic devices that share a similar color palette to our humanoid protagonist. They are instantly friendly and helpful towards us, and so we immediately share a bond with these devices. After a bit of bonding time, we arrive upon an open stretch of ocean, and one of our robotic friends is destroyed by a terrifying great white shark. Not only do we have a natural fear of sharks given what we as humans think of these creatures in the real world, but we are now given a scene which depicts a shark destroying an ally, and this causes us the player to be fearful of the great white and to avoid it when possible. However, despite the fear and inherent danger of the great white encounter, we continue to follow the animal deeper and deeper into the ocean. But why? Fast forward to the ancient temple I spoke of earlier, and we come across a series of paintings that show other humanoids following the great white shark in a godlike fashion. Clearly, these ancient people held an immense amount of respect for the great white shark, and we need to figure out why. Discovering this temple is one of the most important moments in Abzu because for the first time we begin to realize that everything is not as it seems. Much like the terrifying great white shark, our place in the ocean might not be what we think it is. Confused? Alright, let me explain. This temple contains a series of paintings that sets the stage for the rest of the game. The first painting we come across depicts an ancient and infinite source of energy flowing from the bottom of the ocean. This depiction is similar to a red light we've seen each time we enter a sacred well to restore life. In the painting, we see humanoid creatures using red jars to harvest the energy and store it, allowing them to take the energy of the ocean with them wherever they go. I want you to remember the color of the jars in this painting. The same jars can be seen throughout the temple, and their color is very important. The next painting over shows ancient humanoids giving the energy back to the ocean, and when this happens, we see fish erupting from the waves, indicating that giving energy back to the ocean creates life. I believe that this painting is symbolic of the various life wells we see throughout the game. Where the blue energy touches, life is created. And a final painting in this room shows a sacred well, brimming with life and energy. The The three paintings can be taken together to show what's possible when protecting the delicate balance of the ocean. However, down the hallway in the next chamber, things become more complicated. First, we finally see a painting of a humanoid creature who looks just like us, and it is immediately apparent that we are not like the other creatures seen in previous paintings. Interestingly, the inverted pyramid symbol on our chest and back is a unique feature not seen on any other humanoids. And in the center of this symbol, we see the color red. And this painting shows a creature just like us holding the power of the ocean in his or her hands without the need of a jar to contain it. This is exactly what we've experienced thus far in our journey. Every time we activate a sacred well, we are able to pull the energy of the ocean from directly within us, something that the rest of these humanoid creatures in these paintings were unable to accomplish. Next to the familiar humanoid in the painting, we see a gigantic inverted pyramid shape similar to the pattern seen on the back of the humanoid protagonist. At this point, we don't know what this structure is for. All we know is that, like us, the protagonist, the inverted pyramid has a red core, which means that it's also able to contain the power of the ocean inside of it. Across in this painting, we find a depiction of a destroyed sacred well, with fish swimming away from the well rather than swimming toward it, and we see the red coral center shattered as the blue energy is taken from the well. We now realize that these ancient people foresaw the destruction of the sacred wells. And in this room's final painting, we have a depiction of another humanoid who looks like us, and he's standing tall on top of the pyramid devices, indicating that this humanoid is in control of these machines. The pyramid at the center is touching the blue energy, illustrating that these devices are capable of harvesting the power of the ocean automatically, a far cry from the manual labor of carrying old red jars. And now we have an idea of who we truly are. We are capable of carrying the power of the seas within us. We are a vessel, and we are in control of these machines. Our ability to carry the power of the ocean is what allows us to restore life to the fallen sacred wells. But there's a problem. If our goal is to restore the balance to the ocean, then we're going to have to find this gigantic device that was used to harvest all of the power in the first place. Otherwise, nothing will change. And so we set out to find the device, and when we discover it, Abzu reveals its final mystery to us. Eventually, we reach the treacherous bottom of the ocean, where it's clear the ancient civilization was trying desperately to keep unwanted visitors out. After a perilous journey, we discover the Great Pyramid device as seen in the ancient paintings. As we venture inside, we discover a factory void of any natural life. The color palette here shifts from the calming blues and greens of the oceans to a hostile red, and the entire place feels like an alien landscape that does not belong in the ocean. We see an assembly line full of our robotic allies, and we see that they too can transport the power of the ocean. We see the creation of destructive undersea mines that were being used to keep unwanted sea life out of the factory. And then, in what might be the most powerful scene in the game, we discover the truth about ourselves. We are in fact a robot, with a pyramid core just like the one we are currently sitting inside, and we were the highest technological achievement of the ancient civilization. We are more like the mechanical pyramids and the drones than we are like the fish, yet we are not one and the same. Our protagonist operates freely, and he desires to restore the balance to the ocean despite his mechanical origins. As we press towards the center of the device, we come across the same great white whom we followed throughout our journey. Recalling the ancient paintings, we affirm our suspicion that the Great White is actually a noble protector of the seas, and it attacks the core to help save the ocean. When this fails and our hero is damaged, our newly found theory is confirmed as we see the mechanical insides and a red core within our robotic hero. A red core not unlike the one found at the center of this terrible, terrible device. Okay, I know that was a lot to take in, so let's do a quick recap before we get to our triumphant conclusion. To summarize, an ancient society of people lived by harnessing the power of the ocean. In their quest to improve their society, they created technology which improved the energy harvesting process. Ultimately, their technology upset the delicate balance of the seas, leading to the downfall of their society and the destruction of the natural ocean. What's left is their final creation, a lifelike robot capable of carrying the power of the ocean within its core, which begs the question, if this same energy is the source of all natural life, is our robotic hero actually alive? I believe this question is one that is purposely left unanswered, as what matters is that our protagonist presses onward, eventually activating all of the sacred wells, granting him immense power. During this sequence, it's unclear how much of what we're seeing truly exists and how much of it is an illusion, but what's clear is that our protagonist knows that in order to restore the balance, it must return to the Great Harvester device and destroy it from within, and when this happens, our game reaches its climax. After our hero and newly found shark companion are successful and our journey comes to a close, life returns to the once red waters surrounding the Great Harvester. In its place, a reef is born and the balance of nature is restored. And like that, we've reached the conclusion to our journey. To me, the story of Abzu is a cautionary tale. Much like the ancient humanoids, if we do not respect the balance of our own natural world, we too could destroy our natural habitat. That said, the game's conclusion is a positive one, the message being that it's not too late to make a difference, and that we can protect our own natural habitat. Regardless of where you stand on the issue of save the planet, I believe Abzu is a thoroughly enjoyable experience from beginning to end, and if you get inspired to save the oceans, more power to you. After all, it only takes one of us, or in this case, one robot. Thank you so much for watching. I must say, after playing Abzu, I am feeling incredibly calm and meditative. I hope you guys enjoyed the game as well and enjoyed the video. I would love to hear your alternative takes on the story. I'm sure that there's a lot of different theories out there. And if you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe because I have a lot more on the way, and I want to thank everyone for all the awesome feedback they've given me thus far. You guys are the best, and I will see you in the next one.